Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing briefly my thoughts on the 50th anniversary special for Doctor Who, The Day of the Doctor. I was finally fortunate enough to catch this, and it was quite interesting, very entertaining, had me on the edge of my seat for certain points, and, it goes without saying that this was going to be an interesting event, and I think one of the biggest aspects, with this particular story, the way it all wrapped up, was the fact that Gallifrey, we finally have sort of an explanation why it is that the Doctor believes Gallifrey burned on one hand, and in another case, it's in a time lock and all of this kind of stuff, pocket universe, what have you. We kind of have a clearing of the ties as to why one Doctor remembers it one way, another Doctor may remember it differently. And it's very interesting to me that Gallifrey can be potentially, air quotes, saved at some point in the future, because there are certain aspects that, with the history of Doctor Who, it's almost inherent that Gallifrey has to play some role at some point in the future, I would think, especially with the fact that the Doctor may be running on empty, as far as those regenerations goes. I thought it was spectacular. I mean, as a fan, as a Whovian, I pretty much got all of the things that I really wanted to see in this particular special. Building up to it, I got Paul McGann coming back for 7 minutes, that grand totals him at an hour and 10 minutes entirely on screen, but I loved it no less. And with this special, you got to see, of course, John Hurt playing a very interesting character in that it's, you kind of think he's going to be like a dark side of the Doctor, but he was really still kind of, even though he's the War Doctor, or the Warrior, whatever you want to call him, he's still very much Doctor-esque. He hasn't pushed that big red button yet to burn Gallifrey, and that's all about, this whole story is a turning point for the Doctor. He's had 400 years, as he says, to think about it, mull it over. Hey, we're three of us. We can do something to stop this. And then it even gets more expanded because, answering what I wanted to see, all those classic Doctors were playing a role in making Gallifrey disappear in a manner that looked like, it was destroyed. And I love that you hear all their voices, you see them in action helping. Granted, they weren't there physically on screen with John Hurt, David Tennant, and Matt Smith, but they were there. That, they were part of the action. You even saw Peter Capaldi, the coif and the eyebrows, sort of signaling the 13th incarnation of this being that is known as the Doctor. And at the end, Tom frickin' Baker. That's the biggest thing that I wanted to see in this. And I love his little line about, you may revisit some of those old classic faces. Solidifying for me that this could be a future Doctor. He's gone back in time. He's reliving some of his old faces, that kind of thing. It's just sort of a poetic soliloquy for what Doctor Who is, and seeing that final shot of all of them standing together, knowing they have a renewed sense of purpose, even though Matt Smith is on his last legs, respectively. Seeing Unit involved, seeing the Zygons brought to a point where it was like, wow, they're an actual badass threat. It was just fantastic. No in-depth analysis for me. I'm just fanboying over this. It was odd in places, and it took me a little bit to catch up what the whole Bad Wolf angle was and everything like that, because Billie Piper's role was kind of impish, kind of like a foil in a sense, but she had a purpose, and that purpose was to get the Doctor back to basics, to have that physician heal himself. And, it was fantastic because it was highly entertaining, hilarious in places, seeing David Tennant and Matt Smith and John Hurt getting in on the action of playing off each other's Doctors, John Hurt basically thinking that they're the Doctor's companions when he first stumbles across them, made me drop on the floor laughing. Then you had, of course, the nicknames being passed between the Doctors, Chinny, Sandy Shoes, Dick Van Dyke, that moment when Tennant, of course, that we saw in the trailer, goes into the TARDIS, oh, you've redecorated, I don't like it, and all that stuff. Lots of great classic throwbacks. You hear the Daleks with that seek, locate, destroy from Gallifrey to the Time War, and all of these different formulaic, aspects of the original classic series of Doctor Who. It all brought it home with this one sort of special. And so, as I say, it is, to borrow from 9, fantastic that it was making me think. It had me engaged, guessing where was the story going, what exactly was going on with this Bad Wolf persona. Why were these Doctors coming together? And then it, again, answers that in the end, that whole aspect of, well, Gallifrey actually is still out there, and the 13th incarnation, the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, he may have some, retaining memory of that being the fact. And maybe that's what he'll be chasing when, Matt Smith's Doctor regenerates into him. So, as I say, I got pretty much everything I wanted to see out of this. I love that we did get to see Tom Baker. It was so great seeing him on screen and seeing that scarf with that character of Osgood. I've been doing a series called The Great Companions Who Never Were, or That Never Were, and boom, there's one for you right there, Osgood. She could be a companion, most deaf. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of the Day of the Doctor, if you were able to see it, and if you can post, because Google Plus has really, just discombobulated the comment section. I can't even comment anymore. But I'd love to hear from you guys what you thought of it, because I will read those comments. And yeah, what a Day of the Doctor. And yeah, that'll be it for me on this one. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.